Get your special sock out, nerds. This gonna get good.
And I am Iron Man.
What is going on, everyone? Paul Thayer here, the creator and writer of Project Naosis, Omega 2090, Crimson Pain, and now for the first time ever, Lethal fucking Leopard. We just got these in the building. I messaged my printer. I'm like, where are the other books? They were just on the bottom, so I have them all now. Waiting for the trading cards and then sending these things out. But not enough about me. We have Andrew Rodriguez on, the man himself. Let's bring him in.
Expecto Patronum!
Hello.
What's going on, Paul? Thanks for having me on, bud.
Yeah, man. We've been talking for quite some time. Finally got you on. Super busy guy. And yeah, we're excited, dude. How's it going for you? What time zone are you in? Let's start there.
I'm in Central, so it's 8 o'clock for me.
Okay, it's 9 for me. It's not bad. Yeah, I had to push it an hour. I finished my deck. I ripped off my pool deck and I had to rebuild it. So that's what I was doing.
Okay.
I just finished. Only a little finger damage, and we're good. So
hey, you got off mostly scot-free then.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be way worse.
Now, excited that you're here. You know, you have a huge role with the Rippaverse right now. You guys just signed a huge deal with worldwide distribution. How does that feel?
That's a real different shift right now in mentality for us, because we've been super blessed to have incredibly supportive fans who support all of our different creators, whether it's Chuck, whether it's Eric, whether it's the Saskas, whether it's Caro, who I see in the chat with Dirty Deeds and everything else she's doing. Which you guys should also check out her Rip Ascend project right now, Tales from Twisted Ravens. It's a charity project. It's absolutely worth your while. Please check that out. But they've been so supportive of us. And because of the way we've handled ourselves for the last couple of years especially, we've been able to start making some pretty significant moves and deals. And this Hachette one with the Hachette book group is one of them. And it's pretty wild, man. Like, the indie comic space is a hard place to make it in, as you well know, because you've been pretty consistently successful within it. And that probably comes down to a couple things. One, you have a fantastic looking product, great stories, but you're also a fantastic promoter of your work. Like, I always try to point to you when I'm talking about indie creators. You need to know how to promote your work, right? Because by way of you being an indie, people are coming to you not just because of the stories that you're telling, the stuff that you're making, for lack of a better term, the product, the stuff, right? They also are going to you as an individual because you're indie. If they didn't give a crap about that, they would just be doing the stuff, the normal stuff like the big two or big three, if we're counting Image or whatever, which I go to my LCS every week and I have a stack there as well. But being personable and being able to actually speak to your work and get people excited about it just by talking about it, that's a skill set that a lot more indie creators need to develop. And you're kind of like a gold standard for that in this space. I'm not going to lie, man. Like, you're really great at promoting.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Sales, 10 years strong at least. I used to write sales scripts for LA Fitness and all that great stuff. And thought of a great pitch. I was great in person. Finally, after 13 Kickstarters, my 14th, we did 29K. So, now I'm officially
in
that next tier with Hybrid 1. And it was a book I fully published. It's a character hybrid, which is in Project Naosis. And, they killed it. And now we're going to do a big episode 7. And then, we're taking big swings always. I got a couple of your guys on Lethal Leopard. We have Igor Texeria, who did this.
Doing the interiors and that cover.
Yeah, and this cover. And then we have Kanan with an epic cover as
That
well.
looks so good. I'm pretty sure I grabbed the book pack for that. I'd have to double check my
Yeah, you got all
Kickstarter, but I'm
four.
pretty sure I got
just
the whole
waiting
thing.
for the trading cards to come, and then I had Enzo, real one, sign all a bunch of these posters I'm gonna include.
Oh, that's dope.
Little,
That's so dope.
Let's see if I have them. So like it's the same as the cover, but he signed them all differently, and then you know, it'll be a
Nice.
signature and this stuff on it. So
That's
yeah,
awesome,
just more
man.
stuff.
That's so
more
freaking
stuff.
cool. I mean,
I did
he's
really well
he's
on the
cool as
hybrid
hell.
Kickstarter, so now people get rewarded in Lethal Leopard as well. You know?
Hey, there you go. You take care of the people that take care of you, right?
Yeah.
And Enzo seems like a cool guy. Like back when I was still current with watching professional wrestling, he was still there, and I was always hyped when he came out. Man, it was always a ton of fun. He brought the energy. So like that's really cool that you got to like kind of partner up with him.
Yeah, we co-created it. He's a part owner in Lethal Leopard, but it's still my IP for my company and me. And you know, I met him. I gave him Omega 2090, which is my prequel series. He liked it, and even though he's not into comic books, he was just like at one of the pop-ups because you know the wrestlers do the conventions too.
Huh.
And like a couple weeks later, me and him sat down, and then we figured out an idea for the story, and then you know, and then me and Igor, you know, finished all that artwork up, and now we have, you know, Lethal Leopard. It looks so good. I'm so happy on how good it came out.
I'm
so
stoked
excited.
to get it in hand, man. I'm really stoked to get it in hand.
Did you do you have any of the Project Naosis books?
I don't yet. No,
Okay.
I'm always sharing out your stuff, but I haven't had the chance to grab it yet. So when you do your next one, I'm gonna have to get whatever catch-up pack that you do.
No, I'll send you stuff with this order.
You don't gotta do that, man. Let me pay you for your work.
Yes, you do. You'll come back. And speaking of coming back,
I love the confidence. I love the confidence. He's like, you could have these for free. That's fine because you're gonna come back for the next one. You can buy that
see
one.
what it's all about. You know,
That's amazing.
Checking out the chat earlier. We have Mustafa. He was 4 hours to go. People were checking us out early. We had Vaughn Coleman, Project Paul.
Hey, what's up, Vaughn?
Vaughn Coleman wanted to know when he will be on. I don't know, man. Tight schedule. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, damn, it's like that.
Nah, Vaughn's my buddy. Vaughn's
good people. I was on with him a couple weeks ago.
My first ever Comic-Con was at Terrificon, and he was one of the first people that ever bought a book from my table.
Nice.
So,
that's
world.
Awesome, man. So you guys go way back then. That's cool.
Yeah. Don't mess with Karen Brown. Okay.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to mess with Caro. Don't want to mess with Caro.
Chat,
she's sick.
Be flowing. Yeah, hope you feel better. And
I was just gonna lay into. Okay, well, so it's like any other day that ends in Y. That's fine. She's my boss, and so she bullies me constantly at work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, awesome. Awesome chat. Thanks so much, guys, for checking us out and keeping this flowing. Finding out Andrew's hidden wrestling knowledge was wild. Yeah, wrestling's where it's at, man. It's we're all fading into the same thing, and they're the ones who sell out first on Fanatics Fest. When Fanatics Fest with the Tom Brady and all them, the first ones to sell out are the wrestlers. You know?
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Like my wrestling knowledge is understated because I used to watch constantly. Like I would constantly. I didn't watch like AEW or TNA or any of that. I just strictly stuck to WWE. But I was watching SmackDown, I was watching Raw, and I was watching NXT. And then catching all the pay-per-views back when I was still active. And it's been since probably like 2019 since I last was. But I don't talk about wrestling a lot because I just don't have that many people that I'm in much of a close circle with that also are into it, or at least were into it. And so it just kind of never came up, right? But there were some characters created for the Rippaverse that I was like, oh, like I totally understand that energy. Like this is like that reminds me of like this dude. Like I totally get that, right? Like, and Kara's just looking at me like, who are you? Because I had never once brought it up, and it was just kind of a funny whole thing.
Well, it bleeds into the same arena. I feel like you know, a lot of wrestlers like comics, and it's good to get the IP going. But when me and him were at a convention together, we slay. So I can't wait to bring this to New York Comic Con
Dude,
this
that'd be
year
awesome.
and be slinging it. I'll be my 4th year at New York Comic Con. We have Amazing Con coming up as well. Never been Las Vegas.
Oh, you're going to Vegas. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
The next one I really want to go to that we haven't had the chance to go to yet is the Rippaverse. Is I really want to hit up Heroes Con. Because my boy V Ken always goes to that one. And he's just like the coolest guy.
Yeah, I went last year. They invited me, and I was super excited to go. But I do drive when they're on the East Coast, so I do drive for C2E2. I did drive there because I just bring so much shit, and I sell a lot, which is great, you know. But and then Heroes, it was good. But I think that's something I'll do every other year. You know, I'm thinking there's some that I'll do every other year, and some that I'll stick to every year.
Right, that makes sense.
That's
Totally
16
makes
hours
sense.
in the car. It's a little.
That's a long time. It is a long time. That can be a bit of a drag for sure.
Now, your specific title right now at the Rippaverse, feed it to the audience. Don't know you for the first time. Andrew, what is your role at the Rippaverse?
Well, my role at the Reverse is man of many hats. Not quite as many hats as Caro, but I wear a lot of them. And so I am one of our editors. I'm now one of our writers. I'm our social media manager. And I also help manage like our video asset team. Most of that stuff ends up being, thankfully, God bless her, handled by our content video asset manager, Jordan. She does a lot of our video edits, which I'm thankful for because she's far better at that than I would ever be. So yeah, I do a lot over there, but I've recently had the blessing and privilege to be able to step into also a creative role, creative specifically being a writer and actually starting to be able to contribute in a direct way towards building out the universe that we're all trying to build for our fans to enjoy and have fun and get lost in.
Now, how long have you been with the Rippaverse team? How many years?
I've been with the Rippaverse since Jump. So I was actually doing part-time social media management for Eric prior to him even launching the Rippaverse. So I started doing that stuff with him, I want to say like October or November of 2021. And then he launched the Rippaverse and ISOM one in June of 2022. And prior to launching that, he had spoken with me and said, hey, you know, depending on how this thing goes, maybe there's a place to like shift you into like a full-time role, you know, instead of this just being kind of like a part-time gig for you. And like the very next day after we launched ISOM one and it blew up and all of that, it's all new, old news for a lot of people. But the very next day he calls me, he's like, hey, so remember that time I said I might need you full-time? I was like, yeah, I remember that. He was like, yeah, I kind of need you now. Because we were just like, we had so much on our plates. We had completely underestimated the response, completely underestimated like what our, you know, sales were going to look like. So we needed all sorts of things that we did not anticipate. We needed way more people handling like email responses for like questions and things like that. We needed all sorts of stuff for social media. And so that quickly exploded. And I've been full-time ever since, along with a small handful of other people that have been here since day one.
So you go from social media, you got social media, this thing blows up. Now, how do we go from social media to now I'm going to edit comic books?
So that's like really, that's a really weird trajectory that I took to get there because I excelled in creative writing and English and all of that back in high school and college. My senior year English teacher was constantly hounding me to like write for the school paper and things like that. I was like, I don't want to. Like, I'm not interested in like reporting on the news about the school. Like, I don't care. Sorry. But it was a compliment nonetheless that she thought I was actually qualified to do so. And when, gosh, I'd done a lot of ghostwriting actually for YouTube video scripts and articles for various websites and things. And I want to say it was around Alpha Core 1. Yeah, so a little over a year after we had launched the company. So we'd released ISOM 1, we'd released ISOM 2, and there were a couple of like just small technical things in there that, you know, when not enough people have eyes on it, sometimes things get through the cracks. So there were some typos and things like that. And so before we moved to the final phase prior to print for Alpha Core 1, I just messaged Eric. I was like, hey man, like if you want an extra set of eyes on this book, just to make sure it's, buttoned up with regards to just that simple stuff, I'd be happy to take a look at it. And he said, sure, why not? So he sent it to me. And I looked through it and I managed to correct any and all like copy stuff, and even catch a couple of like art tweaks that need to be made in order for there to be a couple of continuity things cleaned up. And I didn't half-ass it. I really spent a long time making sure, because it was like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to offer this to Eric and say, hey, this is something I could help with, I better make damn sure that I'm doing my best, right? That I'm actually worth the time. And so, I stayed up late several nights making sure it was all dialed in. And then come time when people got their hands on Alpha Core 1, nobody had nothing to say in terms of like the people that was like, hey, there's a couple of typos in this book, that's 112 pages. Okay. I mean, I get new books every single week. I can pick out at least one typo in every single one of those books, but nobody actually really cares. But nobody was able to say that about Alpha Core 1, and I was like, awesome, cool. And so from there onward, Eric, for the next couple of releases, had me at least have that kind of an editorial eye, and that just expanded. He would slowly give me more opportunity and more responsibility. Tara was super helpful in that as well, because she's a longtime writer and editor, and she also mentored me in the kind of editorial process, specifically with regards to like comic books and creative stuff. That way I could level up as quickly as possible and be more useful. And so now I'm full-blown editor on a lot of our projects.
Do you know how many books you've edited in total so far for Rippaverse that you're like credited for?
I genuinely don't know offhand how many, because we went from, a lot of people don't realize, we went from releasing one book in 2022 to two books in 2023, which was Alpha Core 1 and ISOM 2. And then in 2024, we kicked it off with Gyro 1, Ripazine 1, then Ripazine 2, Gooding the Polymath. Then we did Horseman Welcome to Florist Park. And then, what did we release after that? There was something else that I'm forgetting. And then we did Bloodruth 1 that year as well. I want to say we also did Zaylan might have been the next year. And then I think we did Great War 1. And we kept rapidly expanding the number of things that we were releasing year over year. And so I've lost count, to be honest.
But a lot of content, and with the Rippaverse books, the ones on my shelf, I would go grab it, but I have to walk through these books. They're like 3 issues in one. So it's like about how many pages usually?
So we've recently, like within the last year, we realized if we're going to have a much more rapid release schedule, we got to get our page counts under control, at least for ongoings. So at the very least for ongoings, we're usually looking somewhere between 45 and 56 pages. If we do like one shots, those could be upwards of 80 or 90, right? But for the most part, all of our ongoing series are going to be within that 45 to 56 page range of story. But yeah, so that's like at least nice double a normal, normal page count for an industry book.
Yeah, 56. I think we did 53 for hybrid, but it's a good margin.
Yeah.
And then what do you usually charge about? Is it about 15 a book? Is it 20 a book? 25 a book? Or they all different?
I'm not I don't have a page rate editorial wise. I'm just like part of editorial team.
No. Meaning
so
like
part of
you charge.
Oh, you talking about like
like
no, so I got you now.
Was $50, whatever the.
No, yeah, I got you. So it depends on which cover. So we usually offer 4 covers standard, 3 of which are limited print run, and then the 4th one will be like our mass print. So that'd be the one that like if we ever need to do reprints because we sold out, that's the cover we would reprint. Awesome. Those were $18 And we just dropped them to $13.99 going forward, which is a pretty good price for, between 45 and 56 pages. That's not bad,
Yeah, it's
right?
killer.
That's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
pretty competitive. And we were only able to do that thanks to our deal with Hachette, because now we're printing at higher scale, right? And you understand this because you're an indie creator. And so when you're talking about print costs, volume is everything, right? When it comes to your deals you get to have with your print quantities and your print cost per page. So yeah, typically those are going to be $13.99 moving forward for that page range. Our limited print run covers usually between 28 and $30. And then we'll have our foil, usually our cover C, foil and embossed. That'll be, the rarest one, and that one's usually somewhere between 45 and 50.
Now with so now they're taking over all the distribution for you guys. When does that officially start?
So they're taking over distribution only in one facet. So we're still doing all of our direct to consumer sales and pre-sales. What they're handling is they're handling distribution to big box retailers. So your Walmart, your Target, your Barnes and Noble, to libraries, and to local comic shops, because though we do have a retailer portal through our website, it's an extra step in a lot of ways that comic shops aren't used to go directly to a publisher, right? They're used to going through Diamond or Penguin or Lunar, right? Or Hachette. And so now our stuff will be through Hachette when it comes to them. And then they're also, the big one is that they're also handling like international, which is cool because that also opens us up, though probably not until sometime next year, to be able to start doing like localizations and translations for other languages, right? To try and, suss out the market and the readership in other areas and get more books in hands where people might not speak English at all, or they speak very little and they'd probably rather read in whatever their native language is.
Would you be doing the editing for the books in Mandarin as well?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that talented.
Nate in the loop. Saying what up? New here. What are we talking about? We are talking about all things inside Rippaverse Publishing with my buddy Andrew, editor, writer, social media presence. We're all here. And we're just bullshitting. And yeah, that character right there, he's kind of covered. Isom.
The top half of his head is covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great piece, by the way. I love that splash piece with all the characters. That was fantastic.
Yeah, real fun. I was originally I was doing 41 characters. I do New York Comic Con. I do all the big conventions, and your boy murders at conventions. Now I could say I murder online, thank God. But before it was like, hey, I could do, when I do a show, I sell, I can sell 1,000 books in like 3 days. But it's hard. I try posting as much as I can, but it's different when you could just say, hey, this is a number, So
yeah.
I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this cool print. People are gonna fucking love it. I'm just thinking what would bring them over. And I wrote out all the characters and I was like, why am I gonna just put my characters on here? There's a lot of people that probably aren't going to New York Comic Con that, might want to be a part of this. And, I have a bunch of people that shout me out and, we're on the come up, might as well get them included. Eric said, yes, get Isom on there. I was beyond thrilled. And I'm happy. It's right there. It's in the office right next to me. So
that's awesome, man.
And I'm slowly collecting one that everyone's signing. So I have one that's me, Enzo, and Vaughn. I have so far because Vaughn's Dark Cloud's on there too.
Yeah, Dark Cloud's got a freaking great design. I love Dark, and dude, you got a lot of characters with wicked designs. Thanks. Like Crimson Pain's design is freaking gnarly, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with him. He's sick. We're doing a cover contest right now. We just did one that was really successful for Hybrid 1.
Yeah, I just saw your video on Twitter a little bit ago.
Yeah, we had 100 submissions for Hybrid 1, and we chose 3 winners. This one, we're only choosing 1. I think we're at 40-something. But I wasn't going too hard with the social, so now I'm going to go a little harder with it. And then we're going to... I kind of have a winner in mind already because there was already one that was really cool. And I'm okay if you edit my character a little bit to make a cool cover because at the end of the day, I just wanted to. They're all limited to 100 anyways. So
right. Yeah, and you showed off a piece that was done by a 14-year-old kid. and it looked
Yeah, it's the one I
fantastic.
posted. I wanted to shout him out because the mom messaged me. She goes, "Does he need to make an Instagram account? He doesn't have an Instagram account. He wanted me to send this in for you." That was what made me actually want to do the highlight thing. That's why I did it, because I did it for the hybrid one. I'm like, wait, I was doing this. We had 100+
Yeah.
missions. I'm like, let me get back in the loop because we're doing the Lethal Leopard one. Make that's done. I'm going to Vegas, getting all that stuff ready, and then this hybrid. I got 500 physical orders. I'm like, so I'm just trying to figure out, making sure that book looks perfect.
No, for sure. Because you want for the people who are being supportive of what you're trying to build, what you're trying to do, and they're in turn like offering you their hard-earned money and then presumably their time because they're also reading it. And that's money they could spend on something else. That's time they could spend on something else. We always want to try and respect our fans as much as possible with regards to giving the best possible end product that we can. And it seems like you've got a pretty strong and like faithful base that you're working with, because they always show up and show out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been growing. Like recently, it was always like, even at the conventions, it was like maybe 70% I'm selling, and then like 30% was like, hey, I might have had something from you. And then
Yeah.
like I think it was even C2E2. The first thing I sold out was like episode 5s, and I was like, holy shit, like I was like, it's so different, And then we're doing the trading cards and stuff, which is like super cool. So I think I'm gonna try to build up to like packs. I'm trying to build my own Yu-Gi-Oh! So I just need 41 cards. And
Man, I used
really
to play
simple.
the crap out of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I want to do something where it's like you can still pick it up and like it's easy to play, and then I could do
it's like-
one that's like
Who did that piece?
Luke, the guy who did Hybrid 2 for me, did all these trading cards. I have
Dude, that's a dynamic as hell shot of Crimson Pain. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, there's we did a bunch, bro. Which one's this one? Omega. Yeah, we have a lot of.
He looks so cool too.
Yeah, so we're doing like packs, and I was like, and I was honestly ripping these for they're selling for $5 a piece, these cards, and did one with me on it too,
Nice.
Yeah,
Hey, may as well.
Yeah,
You're the boss. You can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, it was requested because that's what I'm saying. That was like the different thing too, because one of them's the writer of Hybrid and one of them's the letter, and it was like they're like, yeah, we need like the triple card. In my head, I'm like, where am I? What reality am I in that this is happening now?
That's wild, man.
That was like, and then people are like, oh, we want to do a stretch goal. And originally the 25, I did a 25K stretch goal. And originally it was gonna be like me is the darkness thing, but I changed it to make it a cooler thing. We did this character called Smiley, which is going to debut in Hybrid.
Okay.
2.
Okay.
But just like more of a teaser.
That's cool.
Yeah, just different things, because I want to build a deck that you can think like exactly like sell at Target, Walmart. Like if you bought just the deck, could you play the game with your friends in 15 minutes? And then I also want the aspect of like could we hit that Pokemon thing, and then me just having those cards on the table, it brings in more people. And then like the ones I misprinted, like things that have the borders in the back while we're going through, I'm handing these out as freebies. It's better than a fucking flyer, because with AI now, everyone uses ChatGPT. You could take a picture of this, it'll tell you exactly who the fuck Crimson Pain is now. So
it's true. It's true, man.
crazy.
It's a wild new world right now when it comes to marketing and things like that, with all those tools that are out there. Marketing is not the same as it was just a handful of years ago. It has evolved so rapidly.
Yeah, it's definitely a different beast. I definitely think it's very beneficial to some extent. And then it's sometimes like I'm like, I see things on my feed, and then when I click on the comments, I'm like, oh, it's one friend that commented on this and now it's in my feed. Or like on Spotify, I went to his store, and like now the store just knows I was there and giving me ads on it. Like, it's because of the AI. Supposedly with the routers, the AI can know where you are in the room at all time just from like your Wi-Fi router. So it would make sense that it can pick up, things like that. But
wild world, man.
Checking out the chat. Nate says, so we'll pass this to Andrew first. How do or would you feel when you write something and the general population hasn't got the point you want them to get? I guess you call it general misunderstanding.
So you could look at this a couple of ways. Sometimes there are instances where, because audience is built up of individuals, and all those individuals have their own unique lens that they're absorbing content through, that they're absorbing their entertainment through, right? That's why everybody, if they're being intellectually honest, has a slightly different take on something or a different read on something from each other, because they're looking at it through the lens of their own life experiences as well, right? Sometimes it winds up being the case that due to whatever that conglomeration of events and things that they experience in their own life, they might not get what it was you were trying to say in your work. However, and this one is probably far more important to understand up front and to wrestle with and square up with, sometimes you need to recognize and acknowledge that you might have not executed whatever your goal was in a clear enough manner, right? In a way that people, unless your point is to like build a narrative that's a brain buster, you're not trying to write down to little kids or something like that with your reading, your writing, but you also shouldn't be making your audience confused necessarily, right? You want your audience to enjoy things. And so if you're doing it well, if you're executing your narrative well, there will be a natural organic progression of emotion and, synapses firing while they're absorbing and enjoying your story. And if you did your job well, wherever you wanted them to be at a certain point in the story, they'll be there. Like they'll have that like reaction to that moment if you did your job correctly. Sometimes as writers, we think we executed something and it was the coolest thing ever, right? Or, oh man, like this, I had this really cool, crazy build up to this moment. And when people get to it, it's going to hit them like a Mack truck and they're going to be like, wow, that's incredible, right? And then sometimes it's going to go straight over their heads because we thought we executed on a level that we really did not. And so I think it's important to recognize that sometimes we just miss, we whiff. And so when that happens, when it happens, you have to, the feeling you should be humble. You should recognize, I thought I did something really cool here, but like my audience's feedback is genuine and, from a good place. And it makes sense what they're saying to me, that like, oh yeah, actually I guess these dots that I thought I was connecting don't really feel like they connect naturally or whatever. Right. And so it's important to remain humble as a creator.
Love that. Nate, for me, I try to write something, at least for Project Naosis. Everyone has multiple perspectives, the same way, Russia sees us one way, or we see Russia, or Mexico sees us. I tried to make it more of like, I'm trying to build this world, and like, Crimson Pain, for some reason, everyone loves Crimson Pain too, and he kills 90 million people in my first issue. Did I think that would happen? Honestly, I didn't. Crimson Pain was kind of like a character I originally wrote, kind of just to like move my story along, and now he's like the main thing, and it's just like pivot things. And I guess like I see like what works with the emotion, like what are people really drawing to, and that's kind of why I'm doing the trading cards as well, to see like visually what also is attracting them more. And then I pivot. I'm not married to the story, I'm married to the ending, and the ending I can get there a million different ways. I pivoted Project Naosis 7 completely from the way we just did Hybrid 2. I'm going to that 56-page model now, and I'm going to do everything limited. And, if the same thing works, that's going to be my only model from now on. So pivoting.
No, that makes sense. And as a creator, you have to be willing to pivot sometimes. Like if your audience isn't jiving with a large portion of your story, you got to take a look at that and like take a look at it with some honesty and say, what is it that my audience is looking for that I'm not giving them? What can I do to kind of at least meet them in the middle? Because you still, as a creative, want to like see through your creative vision, but that's all well and good if it's just a hobby. But if you're trying to like build a business or make a living or even just make something sustainable, right? Maybe you're not out there to try and become a millionaire, right? but you want it to be sustainable to where it's like, okay, I can continue to fund my next project after next project after next project. We can only continue to do that if your audience continues to support you. And so if your audience is dropping off because they're not jiving with what you're making anymore, you need to look at what's making them walk away and what would bring them back or make them stay. So that
Yeah, no,
willingness to pivot it's a humility thing.
and I'm doing a thing where, you know, I'm even going back where that kid did so well on hybrid that I gave him 15 pages to go back in Project Naosis episode 1 because I needed this kind of filler thing that will kind of just like mesh it all together. I originally was doing a prequel series called Omega 2090, but the first 2 issues were supposed to be a 4-issue mini. It didn't go the way I wanted, and Project Naosis sold more. So of course we went with Project Naosis to stack. Not saying I wouldn't, but there was key information in there that I feel like you needed. Sum that up in these 2 pages and then give another 15 pages to give you more of that hook towards Omega. And then now when everyone gets these new trades and when we do the episode 1 deluxe, everyone got collector's items along the way. And it's not changing the story. It's just adding to it to add, you know, that more depth.
Yeah, it's expanding upon it. So you got more context, you got more depth to your story. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like a director's cut. Right.
Yeah. I wanted to add more because, and also my writing's gotten a lot better versus like my thing from 4 years ago. You know, my first story from 4 years ago versus now. Of course, it should be better. And since I'm in indie comics and I am only direct to consumer, I will pivot and change in that aspect. But new ideas. You guys do a thing called Ripazine. Your character. This is the first one that you did with Ripazine. Is that where your first writing piece came from? Was that your debut?
That's my first published work. Yeah. So the Blue Shift tryouts short story that so I can get that not
That's nice.
reflecting too crazy. Yeah, the cover turned out great. The foil cover is insane, but no camera does it justice. Yeah, this came out late last year. It fulfilled earlier this year because there were some printing issues. Our printer was their machines messed up and were damaging the covers, and we were like, oh nope, can't have that. But because like the way printers work is they have slots dedicated to different clients and things like that, we needed to hold off and get that like back on track. But we had to wait for an opening to be able to do that and fix the cover situation. And so that combined with there were some issues with some of our shippers, it wound up, ironically, even though I created a speedster, it wound up taking forever to release, even though everything that was in like our internal team's control was handled. It was done. It was done not only on time, but ahead of schedule. But all the technical stuff, all of the logistics that is out of our control, the universe was just against us, unfortunately. But when people finally got it in their hands, gracefully and graciously, they had a very positive response to it, which I was very, very humbled by.
And the character Blue Shift, correct?
So the character was initially going to be called Blue Shift, but a number of factors had me pivot from that. So one, I wanted something that sounded a little more shonen. Because I believe that something that not just indie comics, but Western comics in general really needs to get through their heads is that they need to go where the audience is at if they want to not just survive, but also thrive. Well, right now, Western comics has a massive issue with not having a fresh blood, like younger readership. We're talking like early teens and up. Very few early teens and up are reading comic books right now. It's grown a little bit thanks to stuff like Absolute Batman, but most of the time it's guys my age and older that are reading Western comic books. Now I'm in my late 30s this year. So like people in my age bracket are only going to be around for so long. What you need to do is you need to inject some lifeblood. You need to inject some youth into your readership. And it's the same concept as like building up a bench on a sports team, right? Eventually you might have the greatest team in the world, but all those guys are eventually going to age out. They're veterans, but they're going to retire, right? They're only going to be able to do that for so long. It's the same thing with creators, and it's the same thing with readership. You need to build fresh readership as well. And you need to give them a reason to jump in. And for the most part, the readership that's in that younger age bracket, they're all reading manga right now, for the most part. because that's what is interesting to them, whether it's the stories, whether it's the flashier looking characters, whatever it is. It's a number of things all put together, really. It's an amalgamation. They're gravitating towards that, and they're not gravitating towards traditional Western superheroes. So I said, all right, I have an opportunity here to try and capture a little bit of that. I'm not creating a manga, to be very clear. I'm creating a traditional, like, Heart of Gold superhero, Western superhero. But I injected some of that shonen manga anime energy into the stories and into the characters to see, okay, let's test this theory, right? Is this going to bring people in? If it looks cool and if it reads cool, will that bring a little bit of that audience in? Will that be eye-catching enough for them to say, oh, okay, well, I'll give it a shot, right? And so I wanted a name that felt a lot more along the lines of what you'd see or read in a manga and a shonen specifically. There's a really good narrative reason for it as well, but also, and this is actually the technical aspect of it that a lot of people don't think about. Things that you cannot trademark or copyright include commonly used scientific terms. Blue shift is a commonly used scientific term alongside like Doppler effect and things like that. Just like you couldn't call a character Gravity and then copyright that name, right? So
you could just copyright the design.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like
I'm
foolish and did Omega as one of my main characters, but there's a reason behind that, and it does something. There's a reason, but yeah, continue.
No, I got you. And so now there's far more creative protection and ownership there, right? It's something that's like, this is far more cemented and far more mine, right? And so there are other number of creative reasons for it. Part of it is I got to redesign the logo, which was cool because a really important part of Zephyr's supersuit design for me is the cool fins on the side of his head. They're like super long, which are meant to call back to like Batman Beyond or like Todd McFarlane's way of drawing the bat cowl ears that are like stupid long, right? Where it's like, why are they so long? Well, I like them like that. And I implemented that design into part of the logo, which I thought I was clever. Our logo designers, like saw my sketches for it, and they're like, "All right, sit down, Sparky. Like, we'll make it work." But that's not very good. I'm not a logo designer, but yeah, I'm super proud of it. I really like the name. I'm excited about it. His powers still function visually in the way that his energy shifts blue on the visible light spectrum, depending on how fast he's going. So that's one of the reasons why he was initially going to be called Blue Shift. But I had a lot of messages from people asking me like, hey, like the name's cool, but why is there blue in his name? And he's not blue at all. Like, and that's true. That's accurate. Like his energy's blue on this cover, but it can be anywhere on the visible light spectrum. And I'm like, oh, you got me there, actually.
Crimson Pain can never change his color again.
No, he's stuck with Crimson, man. Otherwise, you're going to get messages being like, bro, why is he, I don't know, white all of a sudden?
Well, actually, I'll show
pain?
you. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it's here somewhere. So they're actually, it'll be in 7. It's kind of like a spoiler, but it's kind of not in the same way. Are you a Kingdom Hearts fan?
You know, I've never actually played Kingdom Hearts. I've played all the Final Fantasies, but I haven't played Kingdom Hearts.
So there was a thing. It's a simple concept. They get possessed by the darkness, and in the video game, you could unlock this character when games were cool, and you didn't have to buy it. Like if you beat the whole game, it has nothing to do with the game. You get the darkness version of him. So I was like, hey, let's do a darkness version of Crimson Pain, and any kid that walks by. Or anyone that makes a purchase, I have all the cards out, and I said, since you bought, I'll give you a card for free out of the 7 cards. Which one's your favorite? And they all were choosing the Darkness Crimson Pain, who's not a character in my fucking book. So, pivot, and now I made it like more copyright friendly, and for just a sense of me that he's just not darkness, but yeah, he's gonna transform into this darkness version. that's kind of going to be like fused into him, and it's
Ooh,
like I have the colors on one of the trading cards, which I'll pull up.
it's almost
But
like
yeah, it's
horror body modification type stuff.
yeah, he gets fucked.
That's creepy, man.
Something's gonna
That's
happen.
creepy.
Yeah, he definitely is gonna take a turn, and it's gonna play that part, and he is gonna have that creepy effect to him, and it's gonna be this whole new plot thing that we're doing. But that's only because like just the design looks really cool, and you just
It
gotta
does. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
um
100%, man.
but this PDF that you shared with me, this is
Mhm.
from Ripazine 5.
Ripazine number 5. Yep, 16-page short story, which let me tell you, as somebody who was newer to writing comic books or new to writing comic books specifically, figuring out how to tell a good complete story in only 16 pages is not easy, actually, especially if you're trying to like do multiple things with it. You're trying to introduce your characters because you want people to get interested in the characters. You're trying to set up your world and all of this stuff. And most of the time, most people also want to have like a cool action sequence, right? A cool action set piece, right? Um, Not only did I not have the action set piece in here, but I also didn't use those full 16 pages for um uh the story. I only used 15 of them for the story, and then I saved the 16th for like a teaser splash page in the back to like hopefully like catch people's eye. It's like, hey, this is a little tease, a quick tease at what I'm thinking of doing next, right? What I want people to be able to look forward to. And man, that was tough. Like I had to trust my audience to like just be interested in the characters, them as people, um, rather than just what they could do. And that was a very, very big test of like, hey, can I actually do this? Can I make people interested in the characters as people and not just like, hey, speedster, cool. So he can do cool stuff because he can run fast, right? Of course, like that's the easy part as far as I'm concerned. Like that's the easy part of the writing for the character. Um, the harder part is like creating characters that people can connect with, people that feel like people in your story, have different, variations in character voice. So no two characters sound exactly alike. Um, it was a trial, but I learned a lot by doing it because then I was able to take that and in each successive thing that I've written since, I feel like I've learned something new. And I've been able to apply that pacing that I learned through those 15 pages of story. I've been able to take that and apply that and say, okay, so now I know how to pace for this. I can expand that now for a longer story and be able to get more out of it, get a lot more bang for my buck as a writer with my page, you know, um, real estate. And the readers feel like they're getting a lot more bang for their buck, you know?
Now, with the Ripazine 5, how many other stories were in here? So was yours like the opener? Like how does that
Mine
like get positioned that like you're in this with how many? Let's start there. Like how many
So
was it? 3?
each Ripazine has one short story.
Okay.
So each one has one short story that introduces a new character or a new concept into our universe. Um, and mine was, graciously the new one for Ripazine number 5. Caro's Dirty Deeds was Ripazine number 3. The Saskas had Catch and Kill in Ripazine number 4. Eric did the first 2 and Salvage and Sersha. And then he just did number 6 with Echoes of Scythion with Kane and White. So yeah,
Yeah,
only
it's
one
sick.
short story per Ripazine, and then the rest of the Ripazines are articles, interviews, and then we have preview pages of other books. So like Ripazine number 5 also had, I think it was like 5 preview pages for 4 different Ripazine or Rippaverse stories that hadn't come out yet to like tease
Now,
those.
and it's also a test. So does every one that features in the Ripazine as is getting their own like one shot, or is it just maybe there'll be a add-on as a
It's
character? Maybe they'll show up in ISOM.
it's not a guarantee that um that like you just because I created this short story didn't mean he was going to get an ongoing. Like that was based on a number of factors. Did it sell well? Well, yes, it sold well. It was actually our first book to sell out of all covers completely. You can't get this anymore or this cover. They're just gone. Which, you know, that's a great problem to have. It also is a matter of like, okay, so cool, it sold well. Now, what was the audience's reception once they actually got it into their hands and they read it, right? Graciously, again, our fan base had a really strong positive reaction to it. And so when all of those things kind of coalesce, then Eric, as an intelligent businessman would do, says, okay, makes money, makes sense. So let's get more of this. And maybe we try out like a one shot to start with, right? A full length one shot. Or maybe we do a mini series, right? Or maybe we just go straight to an ongoing. It's all a matter of like measuring our pacing at the time with our universe building and a handful of other more logistical things. But yeah, just because something gets a short story in a Ripazine does not automatically mean it gets a full book, let alone a series.
Another random question. So now that you made this character, now you co-created this character. Is it is it all just owned by the Rippaverse? Did you help create it? Give me the process
So
on how that works.
I 100% created this character. Even down to like the suit design that's been used in most of the promotional materials. That was also designed by me with a couple of modifications from Kanan because he's a much better artist than I am. And he's like, all right, let's clean this up a little bit. You got too many lines over here. No artist is going to want to do all that panel after panel. You know, and he did his thing. He also designed the logo, that cool logo that he has.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It stands out with the lettering too. It's a good symbol.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm super proud of that logo design because like if he's supposed to be a traditional superhero, he needs to have a logo, right? He needs to have a symbol. That's part and parcel when you're in that territory, as far as I'm concerned. And none of our other characters really had that. Like Bloodruth has her symbol that she's got on her hat. Isom has his eye that's used on his hat, on one of the t-shirts. Alpha Corps has their symbol for their department because they're part of the Flores Park police force, specifically the XSEP task force wing. But beyond that, like, okay, Horseman has his knight symbol, the chest symbol. He's got that. And then Zaylin has the Z symbol that Joe created as well. But like as far as like our actual more superhero stuff, didn't have anything. And so I'm really gracious to Kanan for designing something that looked so cool.
Yeah,
yeah. Right here. Yep.
And this is Kanan's art, right? All Kanan's art.
That is Kanan's art. That is 100% Kanan's art. Yeah, I couldn't draw like that if I tried training myself for 15 years to do it. Kanan's amazing.
Super stellar artwork. So many amazing characters. You can check this out at Rippaverse. Characters, I love that. You can look through numerous pages. All detailed analysis on all the characters. A lot of these guys got books. Guys can get all their books. It's all direct to consumer. So many different styles of books. Because you basically almost hit like every form of medium, you would say almost right now. Because you guys did the children's book. You have more mature books with like Horsemen.
Yeah, we've been able to expand into a bunch of different genres, and you kind of have to if you're going to build out a universe that doesn't all feel like the same thing.
Yeah.
So you know, we've got the police procedural with a twist, which is Alpha Corps, because they're cops, but they also have superpowers, right? You've got your kind of gritty street level vigilante because we got the Horsemen. You know, we have Cosmic now with Zaylin, also by Chuck and Joe. We've got sci-fi like ragtag crew a la Firefly / Guardians of the Galaxy / Outlaw Star, you know, type of thing with Dirty Deeds. So we're able to kind of like dip our toes into all of these different genres because sometimes somebody who could be a potential fan of your universe overall just needs the right hook, right? Just needs the right gateway drug into your universe. And that might be maybe they're big horror fans. And so first thing that catches their eye is Bloodruth, right? Or maybe they are familiar with Chuck Dixon's work on the Bat family, right? And so they see Horseman and they see it's written by Chuck Dixon and it looks like a street level vigilante type character. And they're like, okay, I'm game for that. And they should be. And then my goal with the Arcstream book series and my character Zephyr / Arcstream, like my goal is to kind of grab that audience that's looking for the superhero. Like, give me the superhero, right? He is, his main DNA. He's got a few characters that make up him as a person, like his personality. But the primary two are Spider-Man and Sonic. Those are the two main blends. And I wanted to be able to reach an audience that likes those types of characters, right? Quippy, sassy, fun. You can tell some fun, flashy stories with them. You can tell some very hopeful and optimistic stories with them. I want every single reader, when they close the cover on an Arcstream book, for them to be imbued with a sense of hope and optimism. Even if like the book ended on a cliffhanger, I want them to have built up to that point, that sense of hope, and be like, oh man, like something's good. Something good is going to happen the next one, right? So that's the audience that I'm reaching for with my character, because I think it's really important to reach that audience, because it's cool to have all these darker characters, the more morally gray characters, the super violent characters, the villains, the antiheroes, all that stuff. I love all of it. But you still have to have, even in the darkest world, you got to have a spark of light. And that's what Zephyr's supposed to be. He's supposed to be that spark of light.
Love it. Super cool. Now, you have how many issues planned for this character?
So, planned. That's a very specific question. So, I have 6 issues written. First 2 arcs, 3-part arcs. The first arc is called False Start. Part 1 of that is currently live for pre-order. The next arc, I already have written. I have the following arc outlined, like detailed outlined. I have the 4th arc loosely outlined. And then I have like a ton of notes that I need to actually organize for like the next 3 arcs after that. So I have a long game planned with this. And then I also had plans to maybe make him interact with some other younger heroes that I might be trying to create. To continue to build on that audience that enjoys the more hopeful, fun stories. Something that, like, if somebody's got a 12 or a 13-year-old, they could be like, yeah, this is cool. You can read that. That's fine. And they're like, not like, I'm not quite giving them, something like one of our villain books. Or maybe they're a little squeamish on the gore, and so like, I'm not really about giving them Bloodruth. Fair enough, I want to be able to, hit that audience.
Now, the pre-orders, I saw there was a bunch of pre-orders on there. I know you guys have gotten so massive. How many pre-orders do you guys have going on at once? Is there like a set limit, or is it like because you have a longer time, it's a little bit different? How does that process work?
There's no set limit of the pre-orders that we've got going on right now. And I guarantee there will be more added to that list. The format that we shifted to is effectively not all too dissimilar to the solicitation method that local comic shop dealers are used to doing with, like Diamond or Penguin or whatever. And so they get their catalog, and then it's like, okay, so these are the things that are coming out, several months down the road. Cool. I'm going to get that. 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 Right. And then that's what they get in their store. We're effectively utilizing the same type of solicitation method, and the final order cutoff date for our pre-orders, or rather what we call the print reservation cutoff. That's when we solidify and set in stone the print number quantity. So the quantities for the limited print covers. So for covers A, B, and C, those we lock in, and then that's all that gets printed of those. So whatever gets purchased, that's it. They're gone. And then cover D is the one that we'll print significantly more of, because that's what will send to Hachette, who will then distribute those to the big box retailers, Barnes and Noble, local comic shops, things like that.
Now, with the cover Ds, that now you have a different partner. With the cover Ds, are you guys going to try, like, not saying they aren't, but I'm just saying, are they going to be like a more of a pack your punch that you know that they're going to now go on a shelf at Walmart or Target, versus that, like, hey, this is the fourth cover, if that makes sense? Like, you know, because usually, like, when I look at a lot of your covers, I know, like, when I see them, I remember seeing, like, always one or two really stand out for me. And those do usually sell out first, you know?
It's true. It's true. And if I have my way, it will be that way for every single book, that even the mass print cover will still pack that punch, because that's the cover that's getting in front of a potentially much larger audience, right? That's the cover that's getting in front of people who they didn't go to the Rippaverse website to pre-order because they never heard of the Rippaverse before, right? Their introduction to hearing about the Rippaverse is seeing a copy of that book on a store shelf. And so you have that one opportunity, that one shot to, like, actually grab their attention, right? So you need to make sure that cover pops. I tried to take that methodology and mindset with my covers for the first issue of Arcstream. So far, from the feedback I've gotten, I succeeded in that. I'm very grateful for that, because, you know, I want people to, if people are, like, trying to figure out, oh man, which cover do I want to get? I don't know. Like, they all look really good. That's a good problem to have. Right.
Now, another question too, because, you know, it's just me being questionable. So now there's a pre-order. You guys have so many pre-orders. I'm going to try to back up and see if I could show it again, so the people could see too. Because, you know, you guys went from a funding market to now, you know, your own website. And then now I feel like this is even a different shift from, like, exactly, like, it's more like a solicitations.
It's a traditional solicitation. So we have our crowdfunding function on our store, which is Rippaverse. That's the strictly crowdfund thing. But for all of our prior releases, with the exception of, I think, the animation crowdfund and then the Second Chance campaign for the Rippaverse Omnibus, which is, oh my God in heaven, this thing, which is over 1,400 pages, because it's our first 3 years of publishing.
Yeah, it's sick.
This thing's huge. Yeah, it's crazy. Sick. Like, sometimes you don't realize how much you've created. Like, I'm sure if you, like, stacked all of your books together, you've probably done this already before, but I'm sure stacking your books on top of each other, you're like, holy crap, I produced a lot of work, right?
I know, that's why I want to repurpose one of my that mini series I said I was doing. I'm just putting it into the book, because it just makes it like massive, you know, compared to, like, so I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but before that, we basically just had a traditional pre-order system, not in the way that you would, like, pre-order a game from GameStop by only putting $5 down, but, like, if you're, like, say, digitally pre-ordering a game, right? You buy the whole thing right then and there, but then it's reserved. And typically, in, like, 90% of cases when we were doing those, the books were done by the time we launched the pre-order campaign, or pre-order collection, whatever we were calling them at the time. And we were basically just saying, okay, the book's ready to go, or it's, like, in the final editing pass or whatever, or getting lettered or whatever. Let's put it up for whatever, 60, 90 days, you know, whatever the number wound up being. And during that period of time, we'll then be able to sort out what our print numbers should look like for each cover. And that's how we handled things then. Now we've got the print solicitation method going on, which allows us to be a little more quick with getting more releases out, which is what we need to do now that we have this deal with Hachette, because we should, rightfully so, want to get more of our work in front of this larger potential audience. So it's an exciting thing, but it's like, holy crap, we got to get out a lot of work.
Now my follow-up to that too is because the big thing too, and I feel like that was with you guys, like, it's like, you know, when I tell people, like, when I show them the poster, I'm like, hey, this is Isom, you know, he did $3 million is pre-order or something like that, like just,
Yeah.
which is massive. Now, you guys aren't posting like the pre-order numbers anymore. Like, you guys don't do that anymore because it's more of a solicitation thing now. Like, that's
Yeah.
more the thing you're going for. Are you doing it for any other big ones anymore? Are you guys going to do one where you guys like post one big one where you guys have that market, or you're just over the whole Kickstarter vibe feel?
So there will still be from time to time larger projects that aren't part of our like normal solicitation pipeline,
Yeah.
where we'll do the whole big to do, right? Or we'd put up a night, we'd hype it up for whatever a week or two beforehand, then we'd launch the sucker. And we've got the numbers there for both quantity and dollars and yada yada, because fans like seeing that and all that. But it's not practical for the pre-order solicitation model. We've got too many things going at once.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't make sense to do, because that would also, and here's a bit that a lot of people probably wouldn't even think about. Social media is a really finicky beast.
Yeah.
And social media platforms are very, very anal about what you post. And so if you're posting a bunch of numbers and calling out a bunch of sales numbers, they don't care. They'll like nuke your reach very quickly. They also hate when you post links to things. If you're posting a link that takes whoever's seeing that post off of their platform to another platform, they'll nuke your reach on that as well. Social media is a tremendous pain in the ass. And you have to constantly be learning, constantly be pivoting. So that reduces the headache with the social media as well, where I get to focus more on just like posting art and videos.
You also, my other thing with thinking on why you would change it too is like it would kind of take away from the other ones too. It's like, oh, this is the big one, let me get on the big one, versus like, hey, I got 14 books, let's get like 10 of these moving. I see where it is. I was just curious.
It's too many to juggle that type of a thing. Like, it's one to promote. Take it easy, Carol. Have a good night. It's one thing to promote all the different things that we have up for pre-order, and thankfully I can cycle through like 3 or 4 different projects over the course of a day, right? Because social media platforms are also finicky in so far as the number of times you post in a day. It's so many different things at once to juggle. But I can handle promoting like 3 or 4 different projects as just native posts on each platform per day, and just rotate the ones that I'm doing each day for the week.
Yeah.
And that's easy enough. Totally manageable. Check back with me in a year when maybe we have like 35 pre-orders going at once. It might be a little more difficult. But
and these also aren't the pre-orders from Ripazine, right? That was just Rippaverse.
Correct. The Ripazine stuff are not part of our Hachette deal. So only stuff that has a spine is part of that distribution deal, and only covered deals. So our Ripazines, which we do have more on the way. Like, we actually have, this isn't really a spoiler because people know that we have more on the way, but we have, I think, like 3 being currently actively worked on right now. Awesome. In terms of like, story is done, art is being worked on. So there will be more Ripazines launching for pre-order soon, but those will just be through our usual direct-to-consumer stuff on the website. Those won't be going through Hachette.
Awesome. Well,
yeah, I'm excited for people to check out the new stories and characters that are being introduced. There are a couple like really, really cool ones.
So much. I feel like, you started with one character, you have so many. You have a huge reach now. You have worldwide reach. It's going to be really cool to see your stuff in stores. That was pretty massive on social media to do that. And it's a pretty big win. So shout out you guys for absolutely killing it.
Thank you. We're trying over here.
I'm in your guys' corner.
I appreciate you, man.
I shout out all the time.
I appreciate the heck out of you.
Eric has always been very nice to me, which has been nice. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm so excited. So you have this awesome book that you've written. It's live on pre-order right now. You guys get this pre-order, and when they get it, when? Did it say September?
It's October. So
October.
Print reservation cutoff for covers A, B, and C is July 24th, and then I believe it's October 27th is when it ships. So
and this will be your first full-fledged book by you,
Yeah.
with your character that you designed, your story, and once it goes well, you'll be doing more.
I certainly hope so. God willing.
God willing. Anything else you'd want to share, bro? Anything else coming up? You doing any conventions? The con
Oh gosh, we've
circuit?
got a bunch of conventions coming up this year. I don't remember the dates, but we've got SpaceCon, we've got Bell County Comic Con, we've got Dallas Fan Expo, and then Anime Matsuri, I think. I think we're also doing Anime Matsuri. So
when
all
are
the
you guys gonna
Texas
come to
ones we're
San
doing.
Diego?
Sandy, so it's like pulling teeth to even get the word California out of Eric's mouth. I would love to do SDCC. I would love to get to a point where, like, even if Eric doesn't want to go or he's too busy because he's either running the business or family stuff or whatever, right? He's juggling a million plates. Even if like other members of the creative team, whether it's writers or artists or amalgamation of the two, I'd love to have a booth over at SDCC. That would be freaking awesome, man. That would be so cool. And
It's
I
my
think
favorite
we'll
one.
eventually get there.
I have I think it's a 6-foot or 7-foot table, and it's a corner table right by one of the entrances. And I murder, and it's just a small table. And then compared to my huge one I get at like New York or C2E2, it's like the same thing. So it's like it's a great convention. Everything triple resales. And it's a great time, and I definitely think you guys should be coming to those. And same with like New York, it'd be cool, you guys there too.
I'd like
press.
to do NYCC.
You don't gotta go crazy, man. I was telling my guys at some other conventions too, another company, I was like, yo, you guys just come with one booth,
Yeah.
and you guys will kill it, dude. Like even just having your shit, because you guys are so big online too, and then but like I feel like it's so different, and a lot of people do wear your guys merch. Like you do see a lot of Rippaverse merch. I do see on the fields of the con run. But
It's
that's
pretty
cool, 'cause I
cool
want to
to-
run into you
cool to
guys. I was
see.
gonna do Dallas last year, but just something came up and then I needed to miss it. But I was trying to get back in for this one, so we'll see.
Okay, that'd be cool.
What about a SuperCon? No, right? Because that's Florida.
No, the only one we
Miami
do in
Beach Convention
Florida
Center.
is MegaCon right now. That's right now the main one that we're doing outside of Texas is just MegaCon, because we do so well at MegaCon that like we can easily justify it. Hey, what's up, Tommy? Good to see you, brother.
It's my guy. Huge
Tommy's
fan.
awesome. He's so cool.
But yeah, because I would love to meet you guys in person. We always all
Absolutely.
get along so well. We hit it off, and that'd be cool. And then so thanks so much for having coming on. It means the world.
Oh, thank you,
I know
man.
you're super busy. You guys are super killing it. Millions and millions of dollars these people make. I will be the humble one for you guys, and you guys are killing it. So many pre-orders. It's highly motivating. Your boy's 14 books. I'm coming for you. No, I'm just kidding.
You're at the very least you're ahead of me. And you'll probably stay that way for a while.
You guys got a mega team. I finally, am growing my team, a little bit, like a little more than not just having artists around me all the time. So that's a new shift.
Oh,
Not
I
a
bet.
blue shift,
But a new
just
shift.
a regular shift. Yeah, new shift. There you go. So yeah, dude. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, man.
And
I appreciate
thanks so
you.
much to chat, showing out, people watching on the replay. Make sure you grab his book. Check
Yes,
out
please.
Project Naosis if it's in the future. And anything else that I'm doing. But these get some traction on the replays. So
Yeah.
with that being said, we will see you all later. Oh, shout out my guy Evan G. Does all my back covers. What up?
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
he does-
dope. Oh, dude, I
Yeah.
dig that style.
Yeah, he does that one. Wait, let's see he did this whole one shot for me too.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Shout out
That
Evan
looks
G. Okay.
Sick.
Evan G, my home dog. Peace out, Cub Scouts.
That's all, folks.